that does what he says he's going to do. But before we get started with this demonstration, let me read my copyright disclaimer. Copyright disclaimer under Section 107 of the Copyright Act of 1976. Allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, scholarship, and research. What that means is that everything that you hear in this demonstration is for entertainment and educational purposes only. Everything that you hear is only allegedly. It's only the opinions of mine and others. Now, y'all know how I feel when it comes to Donald Trump. When Donald Trump says he's going to do something, whether I agree with it or disagree with it, Donald Trump does exactly what he says he's going to do. Salute to the replay gang. Salute to all my moderators. Salute to the chat. Salute Marie. Salute Marie. He said that he was going to change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. And that was one of the things that I disagree with. I disagree with Trump wanting to change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Well, whether I disagree with or not, he has signed the executive order, and now the Gulf of Mexico that we used to know of is no longer the Gulf of Mexico. It is now the Gulf of America. How do y'all feel about this? Do y'all disagree with Trump changing the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America? Drop a 1 if y'all agree with Trump. Drop a 2 if y'all disagree.
From the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America.
And we're flying right over it right now. So we thought this would be appropriate. Even bigger than the Super Bowl. This is a big thing. And almost everybody now has assented to that.
On board, ladies and gentlemen, if you could please direct your attention out the right side of the aircraft. Air Force One is currently in international waters, for the first time in history, flying over the recently renamed Gulf of America. Please enjoy the flight, and we are now about to head westbound to Super Bowl 59.
So, salute Miss Groovy, salute Miss Groovy. So, on his way to New Orleans on yesterday, on his way to the Super Bowl, he's flying over what used to be the Gulf of Mexico. That's now the Gulf of America. What are y'all thoughts? As I said before, Donald Trump, the president that does what he says he's going to do. He said he was going to change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. He changed it. What are y'all thoughts? Marie says, to the why, brother, that place he need to work on what needed here to be fixed. I agree with you, Marie.
Wow, he did that well. That's a good Isn't that nice? You know, we got make America great again, right? That's what we care about. Okay, here we go. So this is a famous pen now, and we'll put it with something. I'll ask you to do whatever you think we should do with it, Mr. Secretary. You want to talk about, you know, the Secretary of the Interior, and also working with Chris Wright on extracting vast amounts of oil and gas and making our country rich. Would you like to say something?
Well,
The Full Life says, for real, Shank, did I miss this? Yes, the Full Life. The Gulf of Mexico is now the Gulf of America.
With the Gulf of America, this is a historic day. We want to thank President Trump. His executive order is what set this in motion. We signed a secretarial order as Secretary of Interior directing the U.S. Geologic Survey, who is responsible for the database, which is the Geographic Names Informational System. And so just prior to this signing, if you will, the button was pushed. It became official with this proclamation to call today Gulf of America Day. But now it's going out. As we're sitting here right now, our team is calling all the map providers, so Google Maps, Apple Maps, all the map people. That change will take effect this afternoon to Gulf of America. So again, fantastic. Thank you, President Trump, for setting this all in motion with your executive order. It's an exciting, fun day, and great to do this as we're flying over the Gulf of America.
The Full Life says, I'll be a monkey's uncle. As I said, y'all, the man does what he says he does. Now, I was against renaming the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. However, just because I disagree with it, it still didn't stop it from happening.
We thought it would be very appropriate. We thought it would be appropriate. Kathy, thank you very much for being here. It's been a very important part of his life. And who knows what would have happened to him with that beard. It might not have been good. There you go. Okay.
Have you talked to Mexico about this?
Actually, interestingly, I've never spoken to him about it. It was our call. And I have not spoken to him about, I've spoken to him about many other things, but I haven't really talked to him about this. They've never brought it up. I'm a little surprised at that, but they've never brought it up.
Sir, can you tell us about your conversation with Vladimir?
I don't want to do that. We're trying to end that war. It's a war that would have never happened if I were president. It would have never happened. But we're making progress, but I can't tell you.
You suffered a couple of court losses, Mr. President, and J.D. Vance said judges aren't allowed to control the executive power. What's your take on it?
Well, we're going to see what happens. We have a long way to go, and we're talking about fraud, waste, abuse, and when a president can't look for fraud and waste and abuse, we don't have a country anymore. So we're very disappointed with the judges that would make such a ruling, but we have a long way to go. We have to look, we have to find all of the fraud that's going on. We have tremendous fraud, tremendous waste, and tremendous abuse, and theft, by the way. And the day you're not allowed to look for theft and fraud, etc., then we don't have much of a country. So no judge should be, frankly be allowed to make that kind of a decision. It's a disgrace.
Mr. President, a few years ago,
Donald Trump has renamed the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America. Three weeks in office now. He's working. He's working. That's my kind of guy. A man that works, a man that puts work in, that's my kind of guy. Whether I disagree or agree with him, he's working. Ms. Groovy says, I'm confused as to why he changed the name. I'm still confused myself, Ms. Groovy. Now, if anybody knows why he changed the name, why he wanted to change the name, please enlighten us. I know that he wants Canada to be the 51st state of the United States of America. The Full Life says, where is the outrage? My friend mad at you for saying he works. Hey, Full Life, everybody mad at Shankrock behind this Donald Trump. Everybody mad. I can't say nothing right when it comes to Donald Trump. He said he was going to the Super Bowl. He arrived in the NOLA. How do y'all feel about him going to the Super Bowl? Ms. Gruey says Canada is not going for that, and I don't blame them. I mean, if he gets Canada to become the 51st state of the United States of America, what else more do we need to see from Donald Trump?
United States, Donald J. Trump. Mr. President, thanks for having us.
Thank you very much.
Happy Super Bowl.
Thank you.
You know, you are going to be the first sitting president to attend a Super Bowl. It's a big day for America, always is. What made you want to do it?
Well, first of all, I'm very surprised to hear that. I would have assumed many presidents came, but I think just the spirit of the country's taken on a whole new life. I thought it would be a good thing for the country to have the president be at the game.
It's an iconic day.
It's an iconic day. It's going to be a great game, two great teams, and let's see what happens.
You know, it seems the first days of this administration are like a no-huddle offense. You know, plays going down the field, one after another. There's a long list of things you've already got done in 3 weeks. Big border policy changes, ICE crackdowns on criminals, taking biological men out of women and girls' sports, big energy policy changes. So what's different with you and your administration? The difference between the 45th president and the 47th president?
Well, with the 45th, I had tremendous opposition, but I didn't know people, and I didn't have the kind of support that I needed. I put people in.
Stop right there. He said when he was in office as the 45th president, he didn't know people. He didn't know people. Did y'all catch that? And that's why a lot of things that he said he was going to do, he didn't get done because he didn't know people. See? Remember, y'all, it's a game. Ms. Groovy says bullish. Remember, y'all, it's all a game. Politics is a game. Now, when he came in on his first term, he was just a businessman. He ain't know nobody. He didn't know the ropes. But now he learned a few things.
Tremendous opposition, but I didn't know people, and I didn't have the kind of support that I needed. I put people in office, some great, some really great ones, but I had some that I wouldn't have put. I would have, known better if it were a couple of years later, or if I had a little more experience in D.C. I was a New York person, not a D.C. person. And I had a lot of opposition. I noticed, I looked on the stage for the recent inauguration, and I'm looking, it's like a who's who of Washington. Well, if you look on the stage for the first one, it was just the opposite.
So some of your plays have raised some questions and had some pushbacks. 19 states attorneys general.
Did y'all hear what he is saying? Some of your plays. He said some of your plays. Did y'all catch that? Some of your plays.
And I had a lot of opposition. I noticed, I looked on the stage for the recent inauguration, and I'm looking, it's like a who's who of Washington. Well, if you look on the stage for the first one, it was just the opposite.
So some of your plays have raised some questions and had some pushbacks. 19 states attorneys general filed a lawsuit, and early Saturday, a judge agreed with them to restrict Elon Musk and his government efficiency team, Doge, from accessing Treasury Department payment and data systems. They said there was a risk of irreparable harm. What do you make of that? And does that slow you down in what you want to do?
No, I disagree with it 100%. I think it's crazy. And we have to solve the efficiency problem. We have to solve the fraud, waste, abuse, all of the things that have gone into the government. You take a look at the USAID, the kind of fraud in there.
And you found significant things.
Well, we're talking about hundreds of millions of dollars of money that's going to places where it shouldn't be going, where if I read a list, you'd say this is ridiculous, and you've read the same lists, and there are many that you haven't even seen. It's crazy. It's a big scam. Now, there's some good money, and we can do that through any one of a number. I think I'd rather give it to Marco Rubio over at the State Department. Let him take care of the few good ones. So I don't know if it's kickbacks or what's going on, but the people, look, I ran on this, and the people want me to find it. And I've had a great help with Elon Musk, who's been terrific.
Bottom line, you say you trust him.
Trust Elon? Oh, he's not gaining anything. In fact, I wonder how he can devote the time to it. He's so into it. But I told him to do that. Then I'm going to tell him very soon, like maybe in 24 hours, to go check the Department of Education. He's going to find the same thing.
I want to stop right there. So he trusts Elon Musk. Donald Trump says that Elon Musk has nothing to gain. Salute, Miss Parker. Salute, Miss Parker. So the $1 million question is going to be this. What is Elon Musk in it for? Can a billionaire be in something that makes money, but the billionaire doesn't make any money off of it? Now, I could be wrong. Y'all could correct me, but I could be wrong. I don't see a billionaire being involved in money-making transactions and he's not getting anything. Ms. Parker says, yes, he does. Ms. Parker says, exactly, Shank. Ms. Groovy says, Elon is not qualified for anything that has to do with politics of the Americans. Why is Elon Musk, if he's not getting anything out of it, why is Elon Musk involved in politics? Why is Elon Musk involved with the president, Donald Trump? Now, I could be wrong, but I believe, allegedly, Elon Musk is making some money out of this. It's either money or either control. One way or another, Elon Musk allegedly is not doing this for nothing. But according to Donald Trump, he's not getting anything out of this. Ms. Parker says, our information is valuable. This is how those chips in the arm and so much more about to come into effect. I agree. And allegedly, it's been said that Elon Musk is a clone. Allegedly. I'm only going by what people have said to me. Ms. Groovy says, if he's not getting anything out of it, again, why is he there? And I feel the same way, Ms. Groovy. Why is Elon Musk there? And he's just not only there, he's making moves. Elon Musk has access that federal employees don't even have. So why? What is Elon Musk in it for?
Then I'm going to go to the military. Let's check the military. We're going to find billions, hundreds of billions of dollars of fraud and abuse, but I campaigned on this, Brett.
You announced tariffs on Canada and Mexico. You immediately got action from both of them on border security and drug interdiction.
A lot of
Is
action.
that good enough? Is that good enough?
No, it's not good enough.
So more needed in 30 days.
Something has to happen. It's not sustainable. And I'm changing it.
You know, the Prime Minister said this weekend to a group of Canadian businessmen, he was at a private meeting, he said that your wish for Canada to be the 51st state is a, quote, real thing. Is it a real thing?
Yeah, it is. I think Canada would be much better off being a 51st state because we lose $200 billion a year with Canada, and I'm not going to let that happen. It's too much. Why are we paying $200 billion a year, essentially in subsidy to Canada? Now, if they're a 51st state, I don't mind doing it.
You said that the tariff is a beautiful word. There are some signs in the markets, consumer confidence, that they're a little jittery. So if all goes to plan, when do you think families will be able to feel prices going down, groceries, energy, or are you kind of saying to them, hang on, inflation may get worse until it gets better?
No, I think we're going to become a rich... Look, we're not that rich right now. We have $36 trillion. That's because we let all these nations take advantage of us.
I agree with that now. I've always agreed with that. America, for a while now, America has been allowing these nations to pimp her, to take advantage of her. You know, I've always felt that, like, when you look at how these other countries is set up, if you look at how they're governed, Americans just can't go to any of those countries and receive the benefits and the handouts that we give those that come to this country. You know, America is the country where everybody around the world is fleeing to get to. Why is that? As great of a nation China is, you don't hear people talking about, you don't see boatloads, you don't see people risking their lives to migrate to China, as well as Mexico, as well as Canada. Salute Snoopy, salute Gabbo, salute, and I'm gonna read these comments. Could he just care about the way tax dollars are spent? Ms. Parker says, why does he care though? I can't pronounce your name. Because it's the right thing to do. Dude has all the money in the world. He's not motivated by money, obviously. I hear what y'all are saying. However, let's keep it 100. Let's keep it 100 now. We talking about a billionaire. A billionaire just ain't gonna be invested in the affairs of this country if he ain't getting nothing. Billionaires don't entertain nothing that don't make them money. They're not going to entertain it if it ain't making them money. In fact, you don't even have to be a billionaire. Most people, even people that's poor, is not going to entertain something that's not bringing them money. His companies are here, right? Yes, his companies are here, but he has companies around the world as well. Now, that's a statement that's building off of what I'm saying. He got companies here. So what is he in it for? Is he in it for the advancement of his companies? See, we got to always look at the bigger picture. Gabo says, I think he believes Trump is going to rocket the economy and in turn make his mission to Mars much faster. Richard says, unless you are a billionaire, what give you the clearance to make assumptions? I'll take that question, Richard. That's what I'm saying, bro. We can't patio that amount of money where we could actually do something philanthropic. Richard says, I disagree. Power is only measured by how far you can reach. If you distance yourself, then the U.S. power becomes small. Knowledge is power. Meek says, I would say he is in it for the help in his Mars program, which is good for the USA and him both. Riley says, my biggest thing is with a previous comment where the last 4 years qualified for politics. Who really is? I think lawyers are what's wrong with politics. Lawyers shouldn't be allowed in politics. That's a good point. Then it says Elon's fighting for free speech throughout the world. I accept all of that. True, NASA, Space Force, maybe. I accept all y'all opinions. Y'all made some good opinions. And y'all raised some good questions.
Same thing, like 200 billion with Canada. We have a deficit with Mexico of $350 billion. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to let that happen.
Sports has always been something that Americans rally around, come together. They really do. You won the popular vote. You won all the swing states. Have you thought about how to try to bring the country together, to reach out or to find common ground? Have you thought about that or how that might go?
I'd love to do it, but I would say this. We have to come together, but to come together, there's only one thing that's going to do it, and that's massive success. Success will bring the country together, but it's hard. And I say it's hard. I just signed a bill allowing for women not to have to be punished by men in sports. In other words, men are not going to be allowed to play in sports against women. It's ridiculous.
You're a sports guy. You're a football fan. Size up these two teams.
I'm a big fan of both teams. They're sort of different. Philadelphia have one of the greatest running backs, Saquon. You know, Saquon had an uncle who's a great fighter, and Iran Barkley, his name was. So you have a great running back. You really have a great quarterback. The other team, the quarterback really knows how to win. He's a great, great quarterback.
So game prediction?
I hate to do it. I just say that I've watched this great quarterback who has, by the way, a phenomenal wife, okay? She's a Trump fan, she's a MAGA fan, so I happen.
We're going to stop right there. Salute Capricorn Chronicles. Salute Capricorn Chronicles. Shout out, a big shout out to all of my Philadelphia Eagle fans. A big shout out to all of my Philadelphia Eagle fans. Now, I want to go to the Democrats. And we went over.
Running a small business? Create your invoices at skynova.com. Easy, but
We went over this a few demonstrations ago. But I want to go over the Democrats protesting Elon Musk. And y'all let me know what y'all think. Now, the Democrats was physically blocked from entering the Department of Education building.
Who are you? Who are you, sir? Do you have business here? I've sent the assistant secretary a letter, alerting her that we will be here today, and we've asked her for a meeting. Yeah, I've never done that. Accepted, so what are you doing here? Security responsibility.
Get out of the way. We pay you your job. We pay you. We pay you.
Why were the House Democrats physically blocked from entering a Department of Education building? What are y'all thoughts?
We haven't heard that from the secretary. We heard that from the spokesman. I'm relaying that. You are not the spokesman for the department. You are a security guard.
Where's your bag? Where's your bag? Where's your ID? Where's your ID?
We are not a threat to security. We're members of Congress. We want to ask the questions.
We walk into the White House without having to go through magnetic church. This is an outrage. This is an outrage.
I'd like to speak with someone who works here.
So what are you gonna do? You gonna beat us up if we go in?
I mean, you're gonna,
We want you to.
Maxine Waters, Miss Maxine asked them, what are you going to do? Beat us up. Salute, Miss G. Salute, Miss G. I see you, Miss G. I see y'all down there in the chat. Salute. What are y'all thoughts on this?
Steamrolling you.
Get out of the way.
this is all access entrance.
Stand aside, sir.
This is all access entrance.
Please stand aside, sir.
I'm not standing.
Why not?
Because my role is to make sure that.
What authority do you have to block members of Congress from the oversight? We don't have oversight responsibilities. By what authority can you deny members of Congress their oversight role?
You don't have a business reason to your meeting.
You do not have authority, sir. You do not have authority. There is no authority for you to deny members of Congress their oversight responsibility.
This is getting deep, y'all. This is getting deep. How can they stop the Democrats? How can they stop members of Congress? How can they stop them from entering the Department of Education building? Now, for me, when it comes to education, as far as them trying to rewrite history or, stop history from being taught, I'm in disagreement with that as well. So, as I said before, it's 30%, even though it's 70% of the things that Donald Trump says and does, it's 30% of the things that he says and does that I just disagree with. I think that he's doing too much, especially with the Department of Education, and now you put, in my opinion, you put a makeshift security guard. You just security, and it's just my opinion. Y'all correct me if I'm wrong. Security guards wear uniforms. I was always under the impression a security guard has on a uniform. This guy, as we see, is in plain clothes. Is he somebody that's not a security guard, but could he possibly be somebody important that is just there to prevent them from coming in? All right, he's private security for Elon. Okay, no problem. But my opinion, once again, if he's private security for Elon and Elon is not a federal employer, do y'all see, in my opinion, when it comes to Elon Musk and his role, why can't he do it the right way? Why can't they have him doing it the right way? They want the illegal immigrants to do things the right way. I'm just saying. I'm just saying. Salute, Doug. I see you, Doug. I see you, Doug. This is the security guard.
If you have an appointment, then you're on a guest list, or you're on a spread.
Is what you're saying.
Or you have to have an escort.
Let me ask you a question. Can I ask my question? Are you telling me today that you have to be on a guest list in order to come to the Department of Education?
Either we are informed in advance if somebody's coming, or...
Oh, they know what's going on.
Not even members of Congress,
where you're going.
sir, not even members of Congress signed a letter asking the acting secretary for a meeting and to answer a simple question. And she is apparently...
I'm not aware of the meeting.
So you have to be on a guest list to enter the Department of Education.
Members of Congress, we don't have to be on the guest list.
We're on a list in advance to have access, or if you're coming, then you have to let us know who your escort is. I don't know.
Last year, did something change between last year?
That's always been it.
No, it hasn't. I walked into this building multiple times last year. I walked in. We were at least allowed to walk into that lobby, not stopped outside of the lobby.
This is very different. So you can be stopped at the visitor's desk.
We're trying to get started at Congress.
No.
Why are you doing
We're allowed to go to the
that?
visitor's desk.
People out here.
We're trying to save
Congress. These are members of Congress.
We're trying to save your job. You won't have a job if we don't help you. You won't have any place to send your kids.
We're here speaking for a ton of kids from coast to coast that deserve quality public education. And this department should stay open. We want to share that message.
Working to do that.
Yeah.
We're not so sure.
That's what we want to talk to her about.
Last year, we'd be able to walk in and go to that desk.
I mean, the response I got right here, that doesn't sound like,
Sir.
it's not dangerous.
I'm going to stop you right there. No. I'm going to stop you right there and put it on the record. You did not get a dangerous response
She
here.
told me to get out of the way.
You did not get a dangerous response here, so I'm not going to let you put that narrative out there.
You can lie
I'm
all
not
you
going to
want
let
to.
you
I'm
put
not
that
saying
narrative
you
out there. I'm
want
going to tell you to your face that
to.
that's a
You
lie.
can lie all
We are
you want
members
to.
of Congress, as she said. What I asked you is, do we need to be on a guest list to be in?
Or somebody coming
no
down
one,
to ask
but
for
there was no danger or threat to you. So let's just make sure that
We are allowed to go to that desk
there
right
was
there.
no danger to you.
We are allowed to go to that desk right there.
Go get
Like
somebody
I've
to
done
escort
multiple
us.
times in the past years.
Go get somebody to escort us in. You know this
The acting
building.
secretary, Denise Carter.
Yeah, that's who we came to.
Or
Get
their
somebody.
chief of staff.
So what?
I said, there's not an exception.
Why are you not letting us?
Why can't we ask Russia? Why can't we go in and ask for one?
That's not a thing. I have not seen that.
Why can't we go in and ask for one?
Did you say somebody from the Department of Education here, not just a security guard?
I'm explaining why you're not coming.
Well, are you prepared to stand here for 24 hours with us? Are you prepared to stand here all night if we decide to stay? All right, well, you just stay right there. You just stay and
Why
stay.
are you letting us go to that desk like we were able to last year?
He's not a U.S. employee.
This is a public institution.
Elon Musk hire you?
Did Elon Musk hire you? Let's hear for the answer.
Are you not aware of legal responsibility? We trying to save your.
So he says he's a federal employee, but somebody dropped in the chat that he's a private security for Elon Musk. Which one is it? I mean, come on now. Which one is it? Is America, are we ready for this? 3 weeks in office. 3 weeks in office. Are we ready for this? What is going on with the Democrats and the Republicans? Is this something that we need in this country, this division? Let's go to the Democrats.
What many see as an identity crisis, the Democratic Party is facing about identity politics. Reporter Shane Goldmacher writes this: Democrats are grappling with how to stand up for diversity and defend marginalized groups that have come under assault from the White House without allowing their party to be defined or marginalized by those fights. President Trump has pushed to make DEI a dirty word, racing to unravel diversity programs across the federal government at a remarkable speed. But Democrats are struggling to marshal an effective response. They are debating publicly and privately when to push back, how to push back, and what exactly to push back on. Some are saying that almost no instances of discrimination, especially rank racism, should go unanswered. Others are pressing the party to be more selective and engage only in cultural battles that are winnable. And still others are urging the party to avoid identity politics altogether, even when Republicans seem to be opening themselves up to a fierce counterattack. And so my question to you, Rev, is where do you stand on this? Some say some of these fights are for another day as we're in complete crisis.
I think that what the Democratic Party has to do and the leadership of the party is a stand for something and not try to be all things to all people. And when I read the article, I think that's the debate. Either you're going to say that we are for diversity, and diversity meaning blacks and women and LGBTQ and disabled. Don't let them interpret what it is. That we stand for that. We stand for good policing, but we don't stand for defund the police. You have to have enough nerve and enough backbone to say, define who you are and why you are, rather than be defined by your enemies. And I think that too often the Democrats have allowed their opposition to define them, and they accept the definition. So
drop a 1 if you agree with Reverend Al Sharpton. Drop a 1 if you agree with Reverend Al Sharpton. Drop a 2 if you disagree.
They are defined as extremists, and you're all about defund the police, and you're all about anarchy, and they become defensive rather than they set the tone. You're dealing with a president that has saluted the worst division in this country, that said it was fine people that were saying Jews will not replace us, that's now talking about, while we are talking about by excluding and deporting people to Mexico, saying that whites are being oppressed in South Africa and they're welcome to be refugees here. Why aren't the Democrats exploiting? Here's a man saying whites are being oppressed, bring them in. We have room for them. We have room for Canada, room for Greenland, but Mexicans and Haitians go out. Democrats need to be dancing all over that. Otherwise, they're going to end up like Patrick Mahomes going on without the win.
Do y'all agree with Trump welcoming Caucasians and Europeans from these other nations, but won't welcome the Haitians and the Mexicans? What do y'all agree? What do y'all disagree with?
I want to read to you, just to get a little deeper on this, what Brianna Wu, a transgender woman and Democratic strategist who ran for Congress in 2018, here's what we're hearing from Brianna. who for years has been pushing for an extreme view of transgender rights. She blamed party leaders for embracing positions like around participation in girls' sports that turn off voters, and said this aided Republican efforts to roll back transgender rights more broadly. Quote, it doesn't help marginalized people to not be able to win elections. The purpose of the Democratic Party is to win elections. We don't need to be babysitting the emotional state of activists.
And I think that clearly we again allowed them to define us. I had a mentor that used to say to me, those that define you can confine you. And I think the definition, when they came out with this blitz on transgender, exaggerating the point, there was no pushback saying, no, we're not saying that. We're saying people have rights. So I think that
Well, let me just stop it right here, because when it comes to the transgenders, we got to call a spade a spade. The transgender, this was one of the executive orders from Trump that I agree with, because under the Democrats, let's call a spade, under Obama's administration and under Biden's administration, they allowed the transgenders to just run wild. They allowed transgender men to play in all women sports. I always agreed with Trump on that. And I'll say it again. No male that was born with a man's instrument between his legs should be playing in all-female sports. So the Democrats, I disagree with Al Sharpton, what he said about, twisting it around. They allowed transgender men to play in those all-female sports. But Donald Trump, he came in and he shut that down. I agree with Trump on that. That's part of the 70% with Trump that I agree with. But let's get back to Al Sharpton and the Democrats.
He, in many ways, says what is true, and that is that we cannot appear reckless in where we are fighting in terms of trying to make people be forced into situations that they do not want to be forced in if we don't believe in. I believe in transgender rights, but I do not believe that should be the lead and defined by the opposition.
Well, and that's exactly how Democrats were defined. If you look at the polls that came out afterwards, that's what most Americans thought Democrats cared the most for, in part because of an ad blitz. But I do want to read you this also from the article, from the Times article, Rev, about the split in the party and what happened even during the election for a party leader. Just how far the party is from consensus was apparent during the recent election for the next chairman of the Democratic National Committee, which devolved at times into almost a caricature of left-wing litmus tests on inclusivity. Candidates were asked to pledge to expand transgender representation, add a new Muslim caucus, and affirm that racism and misogyny contributed to Kamala Harris's defeat. Last Saturday, the departing DNC chairman, Jamie Harrison, labored to explain the party's dizzyingly complex gender parity provisions. Our rules specify that when we have a gender non-binary candidate or officer, the non-binary individual is counted as neither male nor female, and the remaining 6 officers must be gender balanced. Republicans gleefully circulated clips of the moment to portray Democrats as hopelessly obtuse. Reverend Al.
I think that what the Democrats have to be careful of is again being defined where we are more concerned about checking off boxes, a certain amount of this, certain amount of that, rather than being clear on what it is we stand for and have people of all backgrounds rise up to represent that. And the fallout from that is by just saying we have to have 5% of this, 12% of that. and not what it stands for, and that these people have merit and speak for the people, the fallout is you end up with people that cannot really do what needs to be done to make the party victorious. Sure, we need diversification, but we also need people that are able and qualified to do what needs to be done. And if we make point B point A and A point B, we lose every time. And we cannot let those that can make the most noise decide the strategy. Let them yell all they want. I remember during the George Floyd fight, when many of us were leading the marches and rallying nonviolently and working with the family, there were people that said we want to burn down Minneapolis. And we said we're not with them. You have to have the nerve to not only stand up to your opposition, you have to have the nerve to stand up to the noise makers in your own side and say, wait a minute, that's not what we're about.
Good point. You know, I agree with the last thing. Give me some comments and then we're going to get out of here, y'all. Make sure y'all double tap the screen. I got 658 watching with only 58 likes. Double tap the screen and get my likes up. All right. I can't pronounce y'all name. John says, I understand we're getting screwed. Akil says, so what you guys thinking that getting rid of all immigrants, stopping funding to disability and diversity higher won't make a difference? And honesty, what you guys want to be paid more, right? I can't pronounce this name. This person says professional grifter. Akil says, get paid more, you gotta spend more, making the gap between rich and middle class. I can take that. Akil, no more American tax money for your trans medicine. Cedric says, why is it always gotta be a Democrat and Republican? Why can't it be about humanity and the people? Well, unfortunately, Cedric, because you got people that's Democrat. You got people that's Republican. So until we get rid of the names, it's going to always be a Republican versus Democrat. Akil has been hating on your opinion, sir. And that's fine if he hating on my opinion, but this is an open platform. Everybody's opinion is welcome. So, I still have to, acknowledge everybody's opinion, even if you disagree with mine, even if you hate on me. I still have to recognize your opinion. Riley says Cedric is on point. Right, and I get this a lot because a lot of people say, can we just stop talking about black and white? Can we just stop? Why we all just can't be Americans? We are all Americans. We are not all Americans. Some of us are Democrats. Some of us are Republicans. Until you destroy that, until you take away all the titles, we won't be Americans. That's what separates us. That's what divides us. The names, the titles. And as long as these names and titles are in existence, as long as you have people calling themselves Republicans, as long as you have people calling themselves Democrats, it's always going to be Republican versus Democrats. Double tap the screen, y'all, get my likes up. Double tap the screen and get my likes up. And make sure y'all subscribe to my main channel. My main YouTube channel is Shank Rock. I do demonstrations on that channel at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. This channel, After Dark with Shank, I do it at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. So make sure y'all subscribe to the main channel, Shank Rock. Double tap the screen, y'all. Man, you are familiar like someone I used to work with at PGA. Dennis says, we need to put our education back to the state like it was before No Child Left Behind. Now, I agree with you, Dennis. I agree with you, Dennis. Akil says, you think I agree with LGBTQ Muslim faith religion? Cedric says, I feel like whenever it's a big tragedy, we shouldn't be worried about politics. I agree. Cedric says, they canceled the Grammys just because the celebrity's house was burning. Akil says, woke is called letting billionaires become like Russians. Common sense versus woke. I appreciate everybody for pulling up. Salute. Make sure y'all subscribe to the main channel, Shank Rock. And I'll see y'all at 5 p.m. Eastern time on the main channel. I'll see y'all back here on this channel at 9 a.m. Eastern time tomorrow. Salute.